Tag her.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Huh?
Thank you for joining us. I'm hoping that everyone that comes in today
Man, we got a
having
hot.
a wonderful day. And we have a topic for you. When I tell you this one is hot off the press, and for those that are looking for the topic of love, this still kinds of ties into it a little bit. So we're going to try to give you exactly what you're looking for, and I'm trying to get this to pull up. And here we go. Make sure that you can hear us. Make sure that everything is going good. All right. How are y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right today?
I'm good.
I'm doing pretty good. I thought I was doing good at least. We will see.
We will see. So today, as we started, we were starting to talk about hatred always hurts you, but we had an interesting conversation before we started, and we're gonna shoot it from the hip, as we say, and just try to figure out, hey, how to get past dating in this new age era. And we have a special guest with us. She's been with us before, and she's just trying to learn and understand what's the difference in this new dating era and how we can get past the stigma of what's right and what's wrong in this time frame. Give me just a second to pull us in right correctly, and we will go from there.
Y'all gonna have to help us tonight. We need all the comments and tag somebody, share, make sure, because being a father of many young ladies, I can say for myself, it is definitely hard trying to understand what to say, when to say, and how to say how I feel about the dating in this era that we're dealing with.
So here we are. The conversation today was first dates, second dates, third dates. What is a acceptable location for a first date between two? And some people may say, well, why are you having this conversation on this live? Well, guess what? We are here to talk about truth, life, and our children.
Right.
And if we can't do that on this type of platform, then we have problems, because these are real world issues, and there's so many things that are going on with our youth today that they have to have someone to talk to. They have to have some truth to come in with, and I think that when these things happen, this platform or these times are the best opportunity to take advantage of that. So everything that we was going to talk about, the four commands given by God, we will come back to that. But we want to start off with what is the best location, or what is acceptable on a first date. And here's why. As you see the things that are going on in the world, there are so many young men and women that are being taken advantage of in the dating scene. Some of those things are things that, as at my age, we did not have them. And the things that we did when I was coming up, and as Pastor was saying, when he came up, those things are considered to be lame for the new generation. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we can be relevant in helping our youth, that we can be relevant in helping those that are surrounded by us in this dating world. And we're not trying to be too overbearing, overprotective, and try to drive their life, and just let them understand and know that we are here to give advice as best we can and try to help them and keep them from avoiding some mistakes. So I want you to start off.
Um, so the conversation came up because I am back in the dating scene, I would say. And I was talking to my father here, the pastor.
How old are you?
I am 24.
Okay.
And he had a lot to say. And I didn't really like it.
So with the things that you didn't like that he said, why did you not like those things that he said?
I just think that the older generation, meaning my father and his parents, or people his age and parents his age, that age generation, they do not understand how much times have changed, and it all looks negative to them, but dating is not the same as when they were dating.
So
dating is not even the same as the last time I was dating. So coming back, I had to get on a dating site because that's the new way of dating. That's how people meet people. People don't approach you in the grocery store, because I was at Kroger. I was there. People do not approach you in the grocery store. They're not going to approach you in the mall. They are going to see you in these places, find you on social media, and say, was that you I just saw at Kroger? You was looking good. Why did you tell me, sir? At Kroger. So everything is different now. So meeting somebody, I would say random, and y'all going on a date somewhere, that's kind of how stuff is. And yes, it's very dangerous, but it's also just kind of the way things are now. Honestly, dating in church. Like, people see you in church and then find you on Instagram and tell you, I saw you at revival tonight, and I really like the way you were singing.
Okay.
No, I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. It's comical to me because I father so many wonderful ladies.
Julia Alexander, your other daughter, she said they're not going to approach you at the game either. So we at the football games, we at the basketball games.
Okay, I got something. Go ahead.
So I guess there's chivalry. There's a level of chivalry that's dead.
Yeah.
So and I do understand that the dating game has changed a lot because she said old folks. I'm 50, so I guess I'm old now.
I ain't 43.
I really didn't know. I didn't know that I was. I didn't know I was old. But I am. I guess I'm old. But see, I think we've lost a lot of. We lost a lot of the things that we used to have. Like, we had communities. You don't see a lot of communities anymore. Right. We had social gatherings. You don't really see a lot of that anymore. The way we used to, especially, there was things that we had in school that would put us together basically for the purpose, and they never would say it, but it was for the purpose of socializing.
Right.
So this generation has lost its ability to socialize. And I don't think they really understand how to communicate, because you think about now, communication is done with your thumbs and not with your mouth. So a lot of young guys don't really know how to say or how to approach a young lady when it was a rite of passage when we was growing up. Like, you had a group of guys, a group of girls, and the group of guys will be saying, man, I want to get a number.
What you gonna say?
Right. And we would have that little huddle. Like, man, what you gonna do? You gonna go? You finna walk over there and talk to her?
Man, if you don't do it, I'm gonna do it.
Right. So it was kind of, you was pushed in that direction, and you eventually just swallowed. You had to swallow your nerves, and you built up your courage, and you went over there. I can remember many times just as awkward trying to figure out how to walk. I'm trying to walk cool. I'm trying to glide with my walk, and I get over there and I'm trying to get my deep voice. Licking my lip like LL Cool J. And then when I get over there, hey, what's your name? She be giggling. My name is so and so. Okay, can I get your number? I ain't got no phone.
My daddy not gonna let me talk on the phone.
And you, man, your feelings, you know, like,
Just
oh, man, you get back to your group and the guy be like, man, you get that number? No, man, she ain't got no phone. So that was it.
Yeah.
You may not see her again.
Yeah.
It may be months.
Mm-hmm.
It depended on the next gathering, the next social gathering that you may have bumped into that
Right.
person again. So there was a different level of development. Now everything is instant.
Yeah.
Instant. And instant becomes scary because, I mean, that development, that build up.
Right.
That build up. Now everybody feels entitled.
Right.
Like, man, I ain't got. Okay, you don't give me the number.
Somebody else.
Guys, I've seen now where a guy will ask a girl for number. She don't get. They start cussing them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you stuck up, you blank, and you think you all of that.
Right.
No, I just don't know you.
Right.
So I think that's a lot of it. And as being a father, it's scary because my girls, I know that they subject to this, and I'm trying to figure out how do I teach them how to navigate through this age of dating.
Right. And some of the things that she was saying was people will not approach you at the at the grocery store and at the football games or anything like that. Can you say that you're approachable?
I was also gonna say that people have like seen me somewhere and then find me on social media and say, I was scared to come talk to you because you was looking so mean.
Do you think that of yourself?
Oh, I know I be.
So,
But I've tried to work on that since
What?
I've tried to work on that now because I'm not aware of how my face is sometimes.
okay.
I've tried to work on like how I'm, especially now that I'm like trying to start a business and like actually be approachable by people. I've tried to be cautious of how my face is when I go into public. So now, guys, I'm smiling. You have no excuse.
But that goes back to the development.
Right.
See, back then it would have been a group of girls also, and the girls would have been saying, "Hey, girl, he come,
looking at you.
Yeah, he come. Now get cute right quick. Make sure you. Those were things that we done.
Right.
So now, since our children don't have that, they really don't know. They don't really know how to be approachable.
Right.
They don't really know what to say when they get approached or how to act when they get approached. Do I supposed to be kind of mean so I won't look desperate?
Yeah.
Do I supposed to, if I'm too nice, then he gonna think that I'm easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to say, but y'all have lost all this whole the in between. Y'all lost it. And I hate it for y'all, but we got to figure out how do we bridge the gap so our children won't be dysfunctional as adults and as future mates.
Me coming up, I was always shy. Everybody gonna say no. You
let's do shy, bro.
People gonna say different, but for me, I always tried to fit in. So I didn't feel like I fit in certain things, certain scenes. So even when I tried to approach a young lady, I had to. Some people may say now they may think and say that's stalkerish, but I had to notice her and know that she was noticing me before I approached her.
Right.
And if I couldn't get that eye contact or something that smirk, smile, or something, then I would not make that move because I didn't want to be rejected.
Yeah.
Right.
And believe it or not, it is a spirit that lingers on to people, that spirit of rejection to where they will not approach someone because I don't want to go through that. And sometimes that's what caused some of those guys to actually do that cursing and all that because that spirit is leeching on to them. It's, she thinks she's too good or he thinks he's this, that, and the other. So now they're just going to run. But I didn't want to. I was afraid to approach people.
Mhm.
Man, I didn't know the right words because you don't have no game. I'm like, well, why would I want to have game? You know, I'm
Right.
like, I'm just trying to be real and come to you. But some women back then, they want to talk to a man that had game. I was not a persuader.
Yeah.
It was either you did or you didn't. That was it.
Yeah. And there's a level of confidence that I think, especially, you know, when we was coming up, it was always like, who's the alpha
Right.
and who's the beta, you know?
Mhm.
So you had groups that was alpha males,
Right.
and those are guys that was going to be full of confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Will talk to anybody, will walk up to anybody, regardless of whether you get turned down or not. And a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people thought that I was an alpha male,
Mhm.
but I was really, and truthfully, I was really a lot like you.
Yeah.
I was strategic.
Yeah.
It wasn't that my confidence was real low, but it wasn't real high.
Mhm.
You know, I was kind of like that little guy. You know what I'm saying? I developed late,
Mhm.
grew up late, was real small, real scrawny growing up. So I was that guy, but I was strategic.
Right.
And like you, I would kind of study
Mhm.
before I approached the girl.
That's right.
I would study her, you know, kind of her movements, like
Mhm.
where she be at, you know, her hangouts, the spots, and I would make myself visible
Mhm.
in those places.
Right.
Get on the playground, I make sure, you know,
Mhm. She see me.
I'm leaning up against the sliding board. You know what? She's sliding down. She talking to her friend, but I'm just leaning up against the sliding board. I ain't gonna say nothing, scared to say anything. But I guess I was kind of stalkerish too, to a degree.
People would think there's,
But you know, that's what we done.
Mhm.
It was more like, is it called suiting or what is it? I mean, we went after.
Yeah.
We went after the woman. You know,
Yeah.
it was
The
chivalry.
pursuit, yeah.
So now times have changed. Women are the ones who approach. So y'all, the shy guys like you, this is what women will do now.
So
I'm gonna see you, you looking at me. If I feel like, okay, he's not gonna approach me,
Mhm.
I'm gonna approach him.
So do you think there's something wrong with that?
I think it's frowned upon, definitely. Like, if I tell my mama, Ma, he wouldn't come. You know, he didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
So I went over there.
Mhm.
I know I don't have to like think it. She said, why would you do that? I'm the type that approach. You're not gonna say nothing.
Mhm.
I see what I want. I'm gonna go for it.
Pew,
So
scared.
running. I can understand both sides. One, what your mom was saying, because sometimes if for some people, if the woman approaches, then it makes them seem like they are in dire need of something. And then in times like that, some men will take advantage because then they say, well, you came to me. And the old folks used to say, and I say the older folks used to say, it's a cat and mouse game. Okay, here's what I always say about cat and mouse. What happens when the cat catches the mouse? He kills it.
Right.
So I don't want to play the cat and mouse game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to, you have to constantly be in pursuit and be able to catch it and keep going. But when we think about how the times have changed because now, and I'm just going to go here and say that, some women are standing taller in what they used to be. Mm-hmm. So now they feel like, you know what, I just need to go after what I want. Yeah. Because there are times that men just won't, because of being reserved or just not being sure. And some people have been through some things. They're like, you know what, I really don't want to get involved right now. I do, but I don't because I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And if I'm not ready, let me sit back and stay reserved and just pay attention when if that time comes and that's what I need, then I'm gonna go for it. Outside of that, let me just sit back because that man don't want to be the one that pursues and then he's not ready because he's not ready. Now I can't take her out on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dates. I have to just sit back and just talk.
Yeah.
And to add to that, I think also it's really kind of scary for a man. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a woman being aggressive to a degree.
Right.
And the reason I say this is because normally when women are pretty aggressive, they already know exactly what they want.
Right.
So in knowing what they want, a man, even like, well, you know, if I don't make the right impression, then she gonna kick me to the curb before I can even show her what I'm working with, what I'm trying to do with my life, development, all of these things. So it's kind of a catch-22 almost.
Right.
It's almost like, well, if I really show interest, then I might scare him off.
Right.
But if I don't show interest, I may never get an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So it's really sad, and that's what I'm saying. I really feel for our young ladies today, because this is what they're really having to deal with. And I even feel for our young men because the expectation is still that high. And right now it's kind of easier for women to develop and become successful, and than it is for men.
Right.
So
it's really, man, where do we go? I mean,
I think another thing is, which is, I say it was a problem when older women talk to us about dating or whatever. They only taught us how to be a wife. Like, it was always, girl, you got to learn how to clean for when you get to a man.
That's right.
You need to learn how to cook.
Yes,
it was
Lord.
never the leading up. Like, it was never, you should, this is preparation. Yeah, it was never, this is what it is to be pursued. This is how you date.
Yeah.
Because dating, a lot of people have a lot of definitions of dating.
Absolutely.
And we don't really get that. We don't get what it means until we're actually out there, and we have to figure it out for ourselves. But we don't get those dating steps. We just get what it is to be a wife.
So going off of what you just said, it reminds me of even growing up, and people would say, or you are the garden tool because you are talking to this girl, then you talk to this girl, then you talk to this girl. Well, I'm in school, so I'm trying to get to know. I wasn't trying to marry right then, so I'm trying to get to know. So it's part of that dating scene.
Yeah.
So you're right. We didn't learn how to date because in everyone's mind it was you need to prepare to marry.
Yeah.
And not prepare, and preparing to marry really means you need to learn how to date, because you need to know what you want or looking for, not what this person, that person want, but because what mama want or what daddy want may not be necessarily what's necessary or needed for us. It's the image of what they give and what mom and dad have presented. Maybe those are the qualities that we're going to look for in a man, and we should act as a woman. But is that what makes us happy on the inside? And I think that's what gets us in the dating scene, because now we're looking for somebody just like, well, we don't really want nobody like daddy, but guess what? We end up with somebody just like daddy. Because we didn't learn how to do those
They
things.
want somebody like that. That is good.
But then once I was dating, I kind of was still thinking about, okay, I'm trying to date to marry. Then they came back and told me, well, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So now I'm like
Confused.
I gotta have a list of people? You mean I gotta interview people?
Mess around and start calling you Peter Cottontail. You got too many Easter eggs. You know what I mean?
It was just so confusing. They don't really teach. Yeah, it's not really teaching how to date until you're doing it.
Right.
Then you're confused, and then you left with nobody because you didn't stop talking to you.
Well, I tell you what, not to, but some of these comments are just, they are absolutely wonderful tonight. I will admit to that. We're getting a lot of communication. Somebody said I would never approach a man because of my upbringing. However, I'm often aggressive, especially now in my mid-40s.
Yeah.
But live some life.
But I understand. I totally understand it, and I think that really kind of explains it goes right with what we're talking about, because what happens is once you go through this stage that Jada is in right now at 24, By 40, you back to wanting to be a wife.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that makes all of sense in the world. Now you know exactly what you want. You've not that you maybe dated a whole lot of men, but you've dated enough to know what you don't want.
Right. You had
Versus what you do want. So it changes. It changes. The problem that we're dealing with is, what do you do in between those periods? Because this is what we're dealing with her. Okay, one question. How do you feel? Well, let's go with this. What's a good first date? Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like now, I would just say now, social media is a big influence. So everybody feels like if you don't go all out, she's not gonna be into you. That's what I think. I done been on some first dates, and they were sorry. We ain't.
Well, what's sorry? Right?
Yeah. What's your expectation? How do you
want to be wooed from the beginning.
Woo.
So if you wooed on the beginning,
listen,
you
let
have
me
to be
tell you why I want to
content to
be
be wooed.
wooed. I'm that girl, and I just feel like
What girl? Well, I mean,
look it up.
So,
When somebody,
so here you go.
yeah, that's the problem right there.
No.
She's the problem with
no,
dating. She's the problem.
not.
So let me
A lot of girls feel like they put that. I think for me, after taking some time from like my last, it was like college relationship to like transitioning into dating in my adulthood, I took time off to like figure out what I wanted, who I am, to love myself and everything. So I put myself up there.
Okay.
I'm cute.
Right.
I look good.
Okay.
I'm a catch.
So here's what
So I want to be
our
from the beginning.
generation used to say about if when you said on that first date you want to be wooed. What they told us was if you started, you got to keep it up.
Right.
So if they woo you on the first date, you got to woo you on the second, third, fourth, fifth. But if he put all his eggs in that one woo and it ain't good enough, then he still look like, man, why in the world?
But I'm also very. I say I'm that girl because I am. Let's just get that.
Okay.
But I'm also a person that if it was great the first time, I know that you can do that. So like us going like the third date, like us going to somewhere like
Applebee's.
Yeah, that's not a big deal to me because you impressed me the first time, and I know that's something that you can do.
So hard. You see, it's so hard. Oh, okay.
But it's about your expectations in dating.
True.
So everybody has their own expectations. So what I'm saying right now, somebody might feel completely different, and it's
true. I totally get that. But that makes it so hard. Okay, if I'm a young man, and you that girl, the songwriter said, "I can't hold back what I feel inside. Can't hold back. You should be mine." That's three woos, right? Woo 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 and the woo. She want three woos
on the first date.
But he said, "I can't hold back." So if your expectations that high, then what expectations do he have? Because men are physical,
right.
Women are emotional.
Right.
So you have to understand that our minds, our bodies, everything is a little different. And we have to understand how to adjust. We have to understand how to adjust, how to balance, not adjust, how to balance between the differences of how we communicate. Okay. So if I'm physical and if I'm wooing you, then the physical aspect of me is saying, woo, my boo. I want something.
Right.
So how
we still on the first date?
Yes.
You got something.
If she want to be wooed like that, because she's that girl, I'm just saying that a lot of guys would think that if I'm depositing this investment, and I hate to really say it like this, but let's be real. Let's be real. If I'm making this investment, I done took you out to dinner. We went to the mall. I bought you something.
Oh, that's a woo right there.
But see there? See what I'm talking about?
I am wooed.
I mean, you had that walk around the mall, right?
Wooed.
Pretty much she's gonna, you know, a real guy probably buy you something. Then you go eat, or maybe go to a movie and eat. All right, now I'm probably right. See what I'm saying? I'm probably about $100 or more in to the date.
Right.
And this is the first date. Not including if I pick you up and we went somewhere, I had to buy gas, you know, the whole 9 yards. So now we're looking at, man, this has been a good date. But man, I have my check. I broke off some cheese on this date.
Now that right there.
And what did I get?
My present.
A woo and no woo.
You got my present.
What are your thoughts?
So I'm listening to a date from the 90s and a date from the 2000 now. Because and like Jada said earlier, social media has hyped stuff up so much so now to where they've done a lot of conversating probably on.
Done a lot of texting.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
conversation.
no, people talk on the phone.
Okay.
It's limited.
All right.
That phone
Right.
talking.
No,
That.
You don't even know how to have a conversation.
No, we FaceTime.
You know what?
That mean-
I was about to say.
and
'cause
people do
FaceTime-
a lot of first dates, like especially since the pandemic. A lot of people do virtual dates.
Okay.
So I mean, it's like I think that when older people hear about like us talking, they only think about texting because they think that's all we do. Yeah, we do text, but people know how to have phone conversations.
Okay, well that's
So
great.
communication is there.
And yeah, the communication is there. I ain't
That's
just
great.
hey, let me take you on a date, and then boom, I pop up. No, we've been talking, we've been communicating.
Okay.
So it's not like
Jada, even now, because I've heard that this happens. They've already discussed things, and so you know what your financial situation is. Sometimes they'll go half and half.
oh yeah,
Y'all
Yeah.
do Dutch?
yeah.
That's what we used to call it. Going
Yeah.
Dutch.
Especially when like college.
So if
Especially,
you
but now as well, like I ain't making so I would assume that a guy is probably making the same, around about the same as me. So like this previous date that I went on, he paid for dinner, but when we got to the movie, I wanted to pay for it. Like I was pulling my card out to pay for my own thing because you just paid for the movie, and that would have been completely. We used to pay for dinner, but that would have been completely fine.
I've been married 26 years and
don't do that.
That would have been completely fine.
I'm
I'm that girl, but I'm not selfish either. I'm very considerate.
man, definitely not dating. Dating, you know, I
Okay.
guess that's the chivalry aspect that's kind of different.
But you know what? But that is, and that's part of the expectations, because they've had conversation and they understand, okay, this is where I am, and possibly this is where I'm trying to go. So I want to date you. I do. And they may want to show you all those chivalrous things.
Right.
But right now I might not be at a place where I can afford it. So let's get on each other's level. And then because it is levels to it. That's what I found out. That it was levels to the dating thing. I think a lot of parents couldn't tell. To go back to something that y'all talked about earlier. A lot of parents earlier couldn't tell them about the dating part before the get married part, because for the most part, when you were dating straight to
Marriage.
It was straight to the marriage
Right.
at the
Or-
next level.
or it was courtship, which was totally different.
And it was you were looking to get married, especially after you have been dating somebody for a little bit. These 3 dates, you talking about fourth, it's time for get married. It's time to buy a ring at that point. At that point.
If fourth date that man come with a ring, you'll be crying. You'll be crying in the car.
So
Be crying in the car.
are you saying that at your young age that y'all open the lines of communication to where y'all talk about finances?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I was ready to pull my card out, but I was like, "You did a good job. I'm not pulling this card out. $53. No, I will pay for it. But you did a good job, sir.
Because I say that because even in some of the older folks, they don't even talk about finances early because they feel of shame.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where that fails in
But
that part of
also, we understand that we're in the developmental stage of life too.
Okay.
So most of us
Transition.
most of us are not working in our career field as of yet. We just
Or just getting started.
or we just getting started. So we doing something probably that we not gonna do for the rest of our lives, or we just starting off. So we definitely got to work our way up to get to where we want to be. So it's definitely, and I say this generation is honest, definitely whether you want it to be or not.
Mhm.
So it's a lot that you already know before you get on this day. It's a lot that you have to find out, but that's about getting to know a person. But it's a lot that you pretty much know before you even.
And some of the people who are in the dating stage now that are a little more seasoned,
Mhm.
they life experiences have taught them some things to where, now I just know I'm not going to put up with that because I'm not at my early 20s.
Mhm.
So I may not even necessarily be looking for somebody to woo me.
Right.
I might just be looking for somebody that's going to help me pay
Consistent.
bills. I'm looking for something different out of life at this point. And I may just need somebody to help me fulfill my mission or to complete me, or they just may need companionship.
And that's one of the things one of the young ladies said. She said, by the time she made to 40, she was tired of the games, ready to, get that life going and get it right. Because, and truth be told, by the time you hit 40, you have experienced so much, you really know, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll be, I push on. And it's
Right.
okay to be in that dating age because you can set the limits and you can set the expectation of what you will and won't accept. So I understand where you're going. Keep dating. I'm not just saying be out there like that, but date to know what you need. Now, if you know what you want out of life, then you go for what you want. But the dating is set to get you prepared for that next stage. And hey, if it takes you, a minute to get there, let it be a minute to
And
get
you know
there.
what? You said something just then, know what you want. Well, she already said many of them are already in careers that they know that they're not going to be in. So that's still trying to figure out. So why get settled into locked into a relationship right now and you still trying to figure life out?
Right.
So I think it's good to date. Just date. I'm not saying being promiscuous, or I'm not saying any of that. That is not even on the table to me.
Mm.
I'm just saying, but do go into this carefully.
Right.
And just date. Yeah, friendships are good to have because you know what? That's also a good sign of networking.
Right.
Me and you might not even be a good fit, but later on down the road, I might come into contact with somebody. You know what? He didn't work out for me, but
he'll fit you just right.
Y'all, or we get into a business partner. Anything. You might know of a job that I may be the perfect fit for. So making that connection with people, just don't be so closed off to where you see, okay, he ain't husband material. Well, you might not even be wife material at this point. So, or other way around. So
let's kind of flip it a little bit, just a little turn, because we got pretty good time. So, but what I wanted to kind of hit on, or kind of maybe explore a little bit, the dangers that, and I guess they've always been there, but it's a little different now because things happen. To me, it just seemed like it happens faster. You know, like I said, when we was coming up, it was a process. We would talk on the phone. We may talk on the phone for the whole summer, and may never see each other,
Right.
because during the summer, you know, yeah, you didn't have transportation,
Nope.
and we definitely didn't have what you call it when you see people live talking live, FaceTime.
FaceTime.
We have FaceTiming, so we couldn't see you. I know one year, and I hope she ain't watching right now, but I know one year that I dated a little girl, man, the whole summer, and you know, by the end of the summer, we were talking, you know, how you saying, I love you too, love you too.
Yeah,
Then,
we don't know if this man got one leg, two.
And then I met her, and I remember my friend said, there she is over there. I said, no, she ain't. He said, yeah, she is. You hear the same voice? And I never forget, they had a little talent show or something down at South Pike, and man, I turned around, had my Guess jeans on, boy, I was shocked. Guess jeans on, had my Guess shirt on, you know, my Reeboks that match. Man, I turned around and said, we got to go. Let's hurry up and go right here before the performance is over. Because she didn't look the way she sounded. Yeah. So it, you know, but the process. Yeah. So we built up to the process. Now I had to call back and say, you know, it's not gonna work out. We live too far. Yeah. We live too far. It's a long distance relationship. Right. We live too far. Yeah. I was in Macomb. She was in Magnolia. I said we live too far away. I can't do it because I can't see it as much as I want to. So I had to break it off. But now it's kind of like
lies.
It's kind of yes. I did tell a lie that time. But now it's kind of like, okay, I cyber stalk you. Yeah, I look up your profile or whatever, Instagram or I don't know what they Snapchat, whatever they do. I looked up your profile and I saw you, and man, you look.
You almost have to nowadays, really.
I got a girl.
But this is what we.
You just get a first and last name. She got your Instagram, your Facebook. She know your social security number and where you work.
She dangerous. We need to put her in jail. But what I'm saying is now, you know, it's so instant that you've made a decision off of a picture, a profile. You know, I'm not even going to the catfishing. Yeah, you know, but you made a decision on a person based on that, and you get to conversate, going back and forth in DMs or whatever, and then you go from that to, you know, okay, now we got real numbers, and we're talking,
and now they need
and all of this is based on this, and things are moving so quick that when you do have a first encounter meeting. Y'all feel like you vested, right? But you really don't know anything about each other. Right. You know, one of the comments was, you know, saying where you work at. That's really not having a conversation about finances. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. Because I work at Wendy's. Well, I thought you was the manager. No, I'm the bus boy. I wash dishes back there in the back.
But so, you know, at that level and age, what you already know what to expect out of most people. You know, at that.
Check stub is a qualification on the first date.
Where do you work? Give me a second.
You are approved.
I done already talked to the manager. I know what department you work in.
I feel sorry for these. I really do feel sorry for these kids in this day and age, because how complicated is it now?
You know what you saying for these kids, but they out there adulting.
Yeah.
So-called, right?
I mean, they
adulting. They
out there being adults and being an adult in this time, in this age, and they really do it. This is real life for them.
Real life. I mean, every day.
Yeah. But I think the experience level is so much different because of the lack of development. Even though they're older, but we had more experiences.
How so?
Because we went through the stage of, you know, like I said, you weren't in the conversation, but we had communities where we grew up, kind of developing
They got,
and learning how.
social media.
That's-
I'm just
that-
saying, we just talking about
No, but
communities. Look
I
different.
think
I do.
no, but
That
I
is
think
not the same.
no, but
That
I
ain't
think
close.
that it's such a mental gap too. Like y'all don't understand how much, just like you said, y'all social media communities, honestly, are just as close. Like people talk and tell you they whole like new mom groups.
I get that. I'm not saying that. I totally agree with that.
But I'm just saying, like the way y'all had things,
Right.
we have it. It's just on a whole different platform.
It's a different type
and
of.
it's the
it's-
same type of bonds that you guys made. We know, like people.
It's not. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree. Not that I disagree with what you're saying, but I don't agree experience-wise because it's totally different seeing a person in person and experiencing the body language, experiencing the whether they sweating or not. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we used to be able to gauge. You almost knew when a person was lying based on the body language. So these are things that we was able to pick up on developing in the relationship versus it's so hard to gauge that when you we going back and forth. I just see you.
What about
virtual.
we on a virtual and I'm seeing this person right here?
It's still so easy to fake because I really don't. You see me, but you really don't see me.
Well, if I see you there, I'm seeing your face. It can be
Different,
the same.
baby.
You can see
it is different.
You can see me pretending like I'm looking at the
That's-
camera, but I'm looking at the TV.
I know
behind
some.
the
I
camera.
know some lies now.
It is totally different. I'm just saying it's totally different when you see in a person. Even okay, I can be as brave. I can be a brave man on the. Just think about all these cyber bullies.
Right.
Why they talk all kind of noise.
Mm-hmm.
When I see you, it's on when I see you. And when they see you, they rolling their windows up in their cars.
They
Pulling
avoid you. They ain't
out.
trying to see you.
What I'm saying is it is different because I can be bold on a live
Behind the
talk.
screen.
Because you're not right there in front of me. I can be telling, oh yeah, man, I do all of this, and I can show you a gold chain, and I can pull out a stack of money that I just borrowed from my mama. I can pull all that out and show you all of
But I'm
this.
sitting down in a chair.
All of that can be fake.
You bitches will be pointed at.
It can be fake. It can be fake on the computer, but in person it's totally different because now you're dealing with the person. You know how when we was little. You remember how your heart used to beat fast when you about to approach a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Man, on Facebook, I'm the baddest dude there is. Whatever the thing is, because you really don't know how shy I am for real. Because this is a projection of who I really am.
Right.
But it's not really who I am. I can fake it there.
So in reality, what you're talking about is that personal touch is nowhere near this social media thing because just like a microwave versus oven, the oven is going to take some time to cook it, but you put it in a microwave, it zooms real fast. That's why it's so easy for you to say, hey, you know what, we can go here on the first date and be okay with it versus what we used to do. It took months. Send me a picture in the mail so I could see a picture. And it may take a while to get that picture by the time it got there in the mail because but that's the way we had to do it.
What's that? Doing that picture.
If there was somebody else, like if I was talking to me and Pastor Sam, we were friends back then. Man, you got a cousin? How she look? This, that, and the other. That's how we had to go off of. We had to go off of what that person said about that.
How's her personality?
Yeah.
Is she funny?
Yeah.
How?
Tell me a little bit about it.
Exactly.
That's the way, and that's what I'm saying because I've watched my daughters, kind of chat, doing a little chatting here and boop 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 boop. Oh, daddy, yeah, boop boop boop. Going that first date. That. I will never. You ain't going on second date? No.
No, I get. He can count his days.
And if I say that, you can text.
So what does that mean? It's over.
That means it's over. It's done. You can text.
Forget
You can
you
like
know my
pictures on
number.
Instagram.
I'm unfollowing you and blocking
So
you.
you give him the cold shoulder off the first date because he didn't meet your expectations.
Because you're a liar.
Oh,
You a
okay.
deceiver and the truth in you.
A liar, cheater.
Because where's the 6 foot? It's missing. It's missing.
Well,
Something.
it
You
just-
must got your low shoes on or something.
I mean,
Oh,
5', 6", and 6 feet is close. I mean, it's only 4 inches.
I'll
I
kick
mean,
you in your knee. You cross that.
my goodness, what's 4 inches?
Kick in the knee.
Little shorty man.
Sit down. No.
So Jennifer said she went on a date with someone she'd known and talked to for years, and that person never got a second date.
Jennifer, I'm with you when you're right.
But that's, you know,
It's a no for me.
it's totally different, and I think that our young people are gonna have to figure out how do they kind of change it up a little bit, because these are the fears that I have of my children dating now.
Just period.
Now
Fears.
now things are so evil
Right.
now, so like and I mean we just doing this for reference. You know, we had to ask to date a young girl. Like
Yeah.
we literally had to go to the father and
Yeah.
say, you know, can I take your daughter out on a
Or
date?
their older brother, whoever was there.
And then they went through
Did you ask my father, could you marry me?
we married. I don't know. I can't remember if I did or not. That's 26 years ago. I can't remember. I wasn't scared, but I figured by then if he ain't figured out, yeah, too bad. But we had to ask all of these things, and then the father would go down like, who's your people?
Mm-hmm.
What's your daddy's name? What's your mama's name? Who's your uncle?
Ooh.
Oh, I remember that bad joker right there, man. Yeah, your people's up there, and they would literally tell you about your genealogy,
Right.
and your bloodline, and they were basically based on that. No,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't get yourself on away from this house right here, don't you ever
And you know,
come back to this
we
house.
learned to ask our parents about people when we were thinking about dating or trying to get to know them. That way we can get the 411 that we needed from them if we was related to them, or
Yeah, 'cause
if
I-
they knew something, you know, this, that, and
I
that.
realized I missed that little info because we got a big family. I mean, I done went on a date. I done called this man, and I finally, tell my family, it's your cousin. No.
I ain't seen here no family reunions.
No, that's not my friend. This is not my cousin.
Not your boyfriend.
Yeah.
But that's how we had to do, because I can remember asking my mama, well, mama, who is do you know so and so?
Right.
Yeah, why you asking that? Oh, I'm just trying to find out.
I'm just
That's
trying
your
to see
cousin.
I saw them yesterday.
Yeah. That's how we got to know people then, because we didn't have social media, and a lot of times we didn't have a full phone line. You know, it finally got to where we could do call waiting.
Right.
And one time it was just, one
Right.
phone ring, it was busy, you had to call back. And I can remember trying to call back and 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 call back to talk to a girl.
Right.
She sleep now. I just had that third.
That's
waiting for
right.
the phone
That's
line to
right.
clear and she sleep.
But okay.
I bet you don't be calling my house this time of night.
In that instance, though, so my dad's job called him. So he had a call job that where they called him in for work,
Right.
and so you couldn't be on the phone certain when he thought he was going to be getting a call from work. It'd be like,
Yep.
you're whispering on. I can't talk to my daddy when you're on this call.
Yep.
Because
Saying Lo don't want to get embarrassed.
all right, because what you not gonna do is let his job call and that line was gonna be busy.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't leave no voicemail.
something else. I spent a lot of time with her mother. She didn't play that. I remember a boy saw me on the bus. He decided to walk up the road. He knocking on the door. Yeah, I came by to see Jada. She don't like no boys. And you get away from here. I mean, he didn't even look at me no more.
Thank you, mother-in-law.
He
Thank
didn't even
you.
look at me no more. Just embarrassing.
But
That's part of the village.
in things like that, it taught some young men, how to ask questions,
Right.
the challenges of having to talk to the father or the big brother or somebody. Because if she had big brothers, then the big brother was trying to be intimidating.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
you know what,
Right.
you gonna take care of my sister, or else I'm gonna, this, that, and the other.
And all you wanted was a date, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I ain't trying to marry. I just
Yeah.
want, we in the 8th grade. I just want to go down to the, to the candy store.
Right. So
He wanted to make sure you was talking about the right candy store, though.
Yeah, this has been a man. This has been such a trying topic on tonight. But I've really enjoyed the topic. Hopefully, and I never did really get to the dangers. One of my concerns is that with the speed of how young people are getting together,
Mhm.
and now since you don't have the little places, like we had certain places that we can go on first
Right.
dates, the movies.
right.
It was limited,
Mhm.
and now that you're not limited, because of how open everything is,
Mhm.
it fears me sometimes that our young ladies may not be in places of protection.
Right.
And so the one thing I will say, and I want to leave the young ladies with this as well as the young men, if you're going on a first date, I would say make it somewhere not too far,
Mhm.
it's close enough that if anything happened, then you're a phone call away from help. Also that it's a place that there's numerous people, so if it gets out of hand, you could easily walk away.
Right.
Things like that, because we have so many crazy folks now, and then there are so many, and I will say this for the young ladies, there's so many down low brothers
Mhm.
now, till you have to be guarded against that as well, because if you call him out wrong, then he may get upset and mad and may want to fight and clown and do all. So let's be safe, let's be prayerful, and let's be mindful.
Right.
Don't feel like just because you've grown either that you don't have to tell somebody where you're going.
Right.
Because that's a sense of protection, some accountability, in case something were to happen to you, somebody would know where you're at.
And this is what I would tell. I used to I would tell my daughter even now. I say, wherever you're going, tell somebody. Let somebody know. Share your location. If you don't want me to know exactly, just tell me something so I know if I had to look for you, what you had on, which direction you went, or something like that.
That's right.
But share it with your brother, share it with your cousin, somebody that I can get in contact with and say, hey, have you talked to her, or have you talked to her, so that I can try to find them? Because if something happens and you call or send a text, say, I need you to come get me, I don't know which way to go.
Right.
I wouldn't know where to look for you or find you.
You don't even know where to start.
Don't know where to start. So now I'm like, what do I do? So in all of that, it's just wanting to be protected. Even with me being grown, if I was when I would go to Fort Lee for a school, I would tell my brother, my sister, I would tell them, hey, I'm gonna take this highway, and I'm gonna stop here around this time, and then I'll let you know when I take off and leave again. That way, if something happened, or they saw on the news where something happened, and they was like, well, Keon said that he was going up this interstate, let me call him and make sure that he's okay. And that's all it's for. Hey, you know what? I should be there around 12 o'clock. And if I don't call you, call and check on me. That way they'll know, hey, he did make it, or let me call and check him because I hadn't heard from him. But still they'll know they know a vicinity of where they may need to look and find you if something happened. But it's not to pry, it's not to say that we want to, stay in their business or anything like that. It's about this world right now and what's going on, and be protected.
And we have to be mindful. Because there's so many of us in our age group that can, if we will tell the truth, will admit that we got raped, on first dates, because of the fact that they didn't have the communication back then. So, as a young man or a young woman, you just had to kind of
bite the bullet,
and you had to internalize it because you was too embarrassed to tell somebody the truth.
Right.
And then if you did tell the truth, how will people gonna perceive you,
Yeah.
you know, from that point on.
Right.
So it happened to so many of us that we won't really be honest about it, and we dealing with a lot of mental damage, PTSD, and all the anxiety,
Date rape
depression.
still is real.
Yeah.
Date rape is
Generation to
real.
generation,
It's real,
yeah.
and now you have to be even more cautious because you got to
All
think
these
about
drugs.
and predators. So you got to think about now you got so many predators that's on the websites, dating sites, on cyber sites, that you really don't know what you're getting into. You know, you done had plenty of those real nice dates online.
Mhm.
You done FaceTime each other and perfect behavior, you know, didn't see no signs. And you finally link up with that person. You don't know their background. You know their profile, but you don't know nothing about them. And now, because we're able to cross so many lines, this person may have been from, I've known people that first date was getting on a plane and meeting somebody halfway because they were states over. So you have to be careful with that. So you know, I just want to say that very stimulating conversation on tonight, very needed conversation. We truly thank Sister all that for joining us on that girl.
Get it right.
That girl for joining us on tonight. I enjoyed it.
I always ask for a full name, age, hometown, cross check with social media, and then Google will tell a lot from that. As long as you have a way to check, and then if you go out on that date, let somebody else know, hey, this is who I'm going with. This is what they look like. This is what they drive. X, Y, and Z. Location, anything that you can pinpoint of where you're going to be.
My girls will send me a picture.
Yeah, something like when we're on the date. Hey, this is who I'm with because this is what he's wearing right now.
Right.
This is where we was last seen at. That way, if something happens, something come up, the chances of somebody finding them are good. And I'm not one to talk about a lot of current events or current events to get a headline. But you know, the most recent event with the young lady that was killed, allegedly killed in Cabos with her friends, is some of the reason why these topics are very important.
Yeah.
Because you go somewhere with your friends and you expect them to be safe, but they leave you. It's kind of nerve-wracking for some of the people around. I don't know all the details, but I'm only expressing what I may have seen, you know, what's floating around on social media. So we just have to be careful with our young ladies, even the young men at the same time, when you take these, you know, destination trips and even being around here with your friends. Just be careful. Let somebody know what's going on, who you with, where you're going. Again, great topic. I'm glad we was able to change it and get some realness and, you know, and life expectancies of what's going on. There's some people that may say, you know, why is this topic being taught in the church? But I say, you know what? Why not?
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the things that our young people want to know. These and with that question, when someone may ask, is the reason why we can't get young people in the church, because people are afraid to talk about these real life scenarios in there. Because guess what? Everything that we talk about, we can tie scripture. We can tie scripture into it about being protective, about being careful and being watchful. We can tie scripture into it, but at the same time, here we are. We are trying to teach the way, trying to bring the young people back in and let them know that we care about their growth and their understanding. And at the same time, being transparent about what we went through, you know, as a youth. But hey, I thank you and I love you. Y'all got anything else before we close?
God bless you. God keep you.
Miss that girl, you got anything?
Love you guys.
That girl.
That girl.
Hey, we thank y'all. And we'll see you again. Oh, next week we will not be on because of, you know, the holiday of Thanksgiving. And we just give everybody time. But hey, if you want to hear something, just say something for the next time we're on. Send some comments, send some inbox, you know, whatever it is you want to know.
Great comments.
We don't mind trying to talk about relative topics. Hey, that girl don't mind talking now. So we thank you and we love you. First Lady, you got anything you want to say?
Good night. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Y'all have a good one.